What's happening now across the Niagara frontier? News stories, old stories, stuff you know about and stuff you'd never believe. It's the Niagara Hub Soapbox with Craig Avery.
All right, in Niagara Hub's continuing effort to bring mayoral candidates, council candidates, and bring your future elected officials into your homes and get some of their ideas before you select who you would be wanting to vote for, we have offered to all the candidates to use the Hub as a forum for their communication, how they're going to communicate, what they're going to communicate about, and what some of the issues that they stand for are. You've seen a lot of candidates, and here's another one today. We have Bob Pascoal, who is a Republican candidate for mayor. And Bob is here to talk about a couple issues, actually, and maybe zone in on one. You want to pretty much, Bob, I believe, tell us how you're going to deal with certain issues, which there are many of. There's crime, and there's garbage, and there's no business, and there's financing and things like that basically everybody is taking little pot shots at, and nobody really has a whole picture of anything. So you came here to talk to us about one issue and how you're going to handle it, and hopefully it's going to be how you're going to handle a lot of things.
Right.
So.
You know, I figured when I did my work pledge, it was too difficult. It would be there are too many words to describe in detail how I would handle each one of these pledges. This is a portion of that pledge.
Cool.
And normally I would say that a nice chat would be, in order. But what I want to talk about today, it's conceptually new. There's some subtleties. So I took some time and prepared a speech because I wanted to make sure that it was clear and concise and easy to understand.
Cool.
Okay.
And with the absence of teleprompters at the Hub, we're going to have you refer to your notes.
I wish I had a teleprompter.
I'm sorry.
But this is the next best thing. So
very good.
Many people have asked me what I think would make me a better mayor than, say, the incumbents and the three other candidates. In fairness, each man has his own strengths. They each want what's best for the city. What I believe sets me apart is my experience and my approach, especially with regard to communicating with constituents. What I believe sets me, last year around this time, we were first learning about the city's new recycling program. There were so many missteps made. It's hard to list them all. Why wasn't the process started at least a year earlier? Why didn't we get 3 bids instead of just the one? Why weren't community groups, businesses, and people in general consulted to discuss their needs and how the program might impact them? There was an incredible lack of communication and community involvement. Why is the lack of communication a problem? Because people fill in the gaps with their own opinions. Opinions eventually become viewed as truth. Misconceptions become realities, which in turn halts progress. It needs to stop. Under my administration, I promise to provide you with the facts and details you need to be informed residents. I'd like to start that practice right now. The news of the City Council voting to engage the New York State Financial Restructuring Board, the FRB, is a current topic ripe for misinterpretation. Let me explain what this board's true purpose is and my stance on it as someone who wants the job as your mayor. One of my opponents called for an audit of the city's finances. While this is a commendable suggestion, I believe it doesn't go quite far enough into getting to the bottom of our current fiscal crisis. What we need is a full-scale review of our operations and a comprehensive report of the findings. This is something I believe that the FRB will be all about. The FRB isn't anywhere near a control board, but I think we can all agree that we're facing some serious financial challenges, and getting an outside opinion makes sense to me. So what does the restructuring board do, and why should we engage in their services? The time to call upon this board is when there are numerous negative fiscal factors like a low fund balance, operating deficits, low cash as a percentage of current liabilities, and a high level of personal service, employee benefits, and debt service spending compared to revenues. Simply stated, the city's expenses far exceed the revenue. It's common knowledge that this is where Niagara Falls is right now. So how can the restructuring board help? Here's the description from the state's website and how these sections apply to our city. Quote, any county, city, except New York City, town or village deemed a fiscal eligible municipality by the Financial Restructuring Board for local governments may request, by resolution of its governing board, with the concurrence of its chief executive, a comprehensive review from the board. Translation, their services are available. The City of Niagara Falls is automatically considered a fiscally eligible municipality because our average full value property tax rate of $20.20 per thousand is above $7.05 per thousand. That's almost 3 times greater. Here's more. Quote, if the board decides to undertake a comprehensive review of a municipality, it can request any information necessary to understand the municipality's finances and operations. Based on this information, the board would make recommendations to that municipality on improving its fiscal stability, management, and the delivery of public services. Translation, if we engage their services, they will help us evaluate our city's finances and operations so that we may run more efficiently and climb out of the hole we're currently in to become fiscally viable. In fact, they've done so in other parts of New York State to the betterment of those communities, namely the cities of Albany, Rochester, Fullerton, and Jamestown, the town of Fishkill, and the villages of Alfred and Wilson. Now the part that everyone is nervous about. Obviously, even me.
Drum roll.
Quote, as part of these recommendations, the board could offer grants and/or loans of up to $5 million through the Local Government Performance and Efficiency Program for undertaking certain recommendations. If the municipality agrees to undertake the board's recommendations, it would be contractually bound to fill those terms in order to receive the grant and/or loan. End quote. Translation, we could conceivably receive money in the form of loans or grants from the state in order to implement recommended upgrades. This would be a good thing. The contractual agreement language applies only to those specific recommendations for which we would receive money. For example, if they gave us $1 million for a specific project, we would need to fulfill the terms outlined for that project. It does not mean we would be turning over the entire city's control over to the state, as been implied by those opposing this measure. As part of my personal quest to understand this process, I wanted to see what kind of reports the board generates. I took a look at one that was prepared for the City of Albany. The contents of these reports are straightforward, helpful, insightful, and delivered from the perspective of a group offering genuine help. The report includes a budget profile as well as observations and recommendations in key areas such as economic development, socio-economic challenges, land banks, and community revitalization. All of this could be a boon for our city. In fact, one of the factors that caught my eye while reading this report was something I addressed in my work pledge. Enhancing efficiency and productivity through information technology. Here's what they had to say about Albany. The City of Albany has outdated and inefficient information technology systems. Over the last 20 years, the city has operated with decentralized management, and many of its core business processes in finance, procurement, and human resources. Important city operations are supported by aging, standalone, paper-based, and labor-intensive systems. Does this sound familiar? Imagine if the recommendations included grant money to modernize our data operations. That's just the beginning. There is so much more we can do. I'd like to close with this thought. During the petition process, I heard a lot of people say, anyone but. While many of us might agree this administration has had its run, choosing a mayor is more than just picking one person because he or she is not someone else. You, the people of this city, deserve so much better than anyone but. Take your time. Find out what each candidate stands for before you vote in the primaries on September 10th. Now, more than ever, it's vital that everyone considers this important choice carefully. The future of Niagara Falls is at stake. Thank you.
Very good, Bob.
Thank you.
You know, while I was sitting here, it kind of had a little light bulb go off. I'm listening to it, it makes sense, you know, and I'm wondering, gee, how come no one's ever explained this like that before? Maybe it's because, myself included, as voters, we haven't taken the time to listen. So I think that might be a big lesson for all of us here. Let's listen to what people are saying. Let's listen to all the candidates. Let's see who that we want to follow. And I'm boosting everybody right now. But I think a lot of it is, and you hit it earlier, what someone comes up as a misinterpretation could become fact in someone else's mind. And we've got to get the facts out, and we've got to get the right explanations, and us voters have to listen. So.
Right, exactly.
Cool.
So I enjoy coming here and explaining this because I think that it's part of the learning process when you're trying to figure out who your next mayor is going to be. The fact is, Craig, is that there are only 3 choices for the Republican primary. We know what they are. And I think that this outlet is a great chance for people at home to actually hear how we speak, where we stand, how our thought processes work. But it just dawned on me, I had gone to that financial advisory committee, and I heard what they were talking about with the budget, and I said, boy, it does make sense. But then I said to myself, I need to look a little bit deeper. If I'm going to recommend something or I agree with something, I should look into it a little bit more. And I think that, you know, another thing is that there is no mayor school. So as I walk down this path and come closer to what could be an eventuality, I could be the mayor. As I come closer to that, I realize that there's so much more I need to study and learn. But that's the process that I take. That's the person who I am.
Great.
Okay.
Well, good luck. We'll see you soon.
Thank you, Craig.
All right.
Solid.
That work?
Works for me.
That was good.
What do you think, studio audience?
Pretty good.
All right.